welcome to the Players Ball. Player. Welcome back. Glad you made it. This is a social production. That's why we're doing it once again on the Wednesday. It's June the 17th, 2026. Thank you for joining me. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. If you've been with me from some time, then welcome back to the show, wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, whether it's the beautiful United States of America, it's further down south, the Mexico's, beautiful people of South America over there, the beautiful people in Africa, more beautiful people in Asia, all the beautiful people in Europe. Put your hands up, put your hands down, quit touching yourselves, touch each other. Australia's, over there in New Zealand, over there in Papua New Guinea, of course, over there in Senegal, over there in Ecuador, over there Equibactor. And shout out to my backdoor players out there putting it down because it's Wednesday. Welcome back. Glad to be with you guys another day. Guys and gals out there. Let me just get a sip of this coffee right here. Let me just quench the old thirst right here, horse. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get right into it. Lots of exciting events, lots of things happening in and around the world. And first and foremost, thank you for all the congratulations that came in. And again, some of you, I know that people are busy. I know you can't keep track of everything, but again, big few, past few days have been extremely big for your boy. And again, thank you in advance for the support, the love. And for those of you who don't know but are tuning in, you're like, Rob, what is it? What are we congratulating you for? Well, if you didn't hear, this isn't about bragging. This isn't about, this isn't about so much, whatever, no big deal. Did your boy just become the world's first gajillionaire? Low-key, yes. Low-key, yes. And of course, there's other, but again, this isn't about me. Yes, what does it mean to be the world's first gajillionaire? It means I've got all the monies. I mean, but this should be an inspiration to all of you. I know there's other people who are extremely inspirational as well. Elon Musk, congratulations. I guess what a coincidence. Elon Musk just became a trillionaire. But again, it's the air is thin up here. Being a gajillionaire, there are not many. Yes, anyone could be a millionaire. Anybody could be a billionaire. And I suppose if you work hard, you can become a trillionaire as well. But again, a gajillionaire level, it's the elite of the elite. It's all the monies. I make my own money at this point. I lend money. I burn money. I just do a ton of stuff. I do a ton of stuff that concerns, but it doesn't matter. You too can become a gajillionaire if you just work hard and dedicate yourself to something, anything. It doesn't even matter. But remember, gajillionaire lives matters. And yes, again, and how did this start? How did all this start? And I'm glad that you asked. Thank you. It's, to some of you who are, again, if you're joining us today, it's, congratulations. You're welcome. If you've been with me for some time, one of my, again, have your hands in many different pots, is it pots? Have your hands in different pots. Have your cack in different pies. Make sure you cool off the pie before you put your cock in the pie. But have your cock in multiple pies. That's what I've done. One of the biggest, and again, this one, shout out to many people doubted it when I first initially said I'm gonna become the world's largest producer and provider and proprietor of Cellulite. That's right, big Cellulite right here. You wouldn't think that Cellulite would take it this far, but look at us now. I remember back in the day, I'm like, you know what? Smooth skin, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I really love smooth. But what about just, for people who want to do it differently, considering there's 8 billion people on this planet, more or less. And I said, yeah, smooth is fine. But what about the chunky monkeys out there who like a little bit of cottage cheese? You know what I'm talking about? A little bit of cottage cheese beneath that skin, a little bit of chunkiness, a little bit of texture. What about the blind? Because the blind, as much as they're not that large in population, but still they're out there touching surfaces. I'm like, and they're touching a bunch of smooth people. They don't even know they're touching people. And I said, you know what? We're not just doing this for shits and gigs. We're not just doing this for able-bodied community, but also the blind community out there who you're welcome, by the way. But again, a lot of people went like, is this going to be scalable? Can we scale this? It is a good product. We'll give it to you. But we need to see some results. And I said the results speak for themselves. Who doesn't love Cellulite, dog? And I tried with babies. There were smooth babies. We turned them into cellulite babies. I came up with the roll as well at the same time. I'm like, let's give your baby some rolls and cellulite. Of course, a lot of people were like, yeah, it's good for babies, but let them, move along and grow up and, go through early childhood, adolescence, teenagehood, young adulthood, and then get rid of the cellulite. Some people later on would, of course, bring it back if they got a little bit hefty or just, genetics. But we wanted to offer this to everybody, and I did. Spent a ton of time doing research when there were people like, why are you doing research on this? Why you gotta, go on the computer and do research? Why do you gotta talk to scientists? Why do you gotta knock on doors? Why do you gotta ring doorbells? Why do you gotta knock on doors, ring doorbells, and then run away? And I said, because, it's important to have fun whilst you're working. So yeah, a few times, missed out on a couple of good scientists because I did run away, but the laughter was worth it. The laughter, we found out later that there were a couple of scientists we knocked and ran away from that they were specializing in cellulite. Nonetheless, yes. Did we later find out that they might be competitors? Yeah, sure. Allegedly, some people's brakes were cut loose, but we had nothing to do with that. So the point is that, yes, it took many years. It took many doors being slammed in my face. But I said, no. I've heard what the public wants, and it's cellulite. So I brought it to everybody from young to old. And people were lining up from Tokyo to Bangkok to New York to Milan to Paris to Singapore. Everywhere, really. Oh, and Dubai too, and the UAE, everywhere, really. People are like, oh, we want the cellulite. And people start buying it for themselves, their family members, getting it for friends and family. And it's great to take to, you can take it to a birthday, you can take it to an anniversary, you can take it to a Thanksgiving dinner. What's going on? Oh, it's cellulite for everybody. Everybody loses their shit, and it just brings people together. But again, did it happen overnight? Everybody likes to look at the success and be like, look at this guy overnight. They don't know the years that we, had to mess around with different types of cellulite, working in, with different skin tones, because it's easy to just have one, there's no one size fits all cellulite, bruv. We had to look at different complexions, different dermises, and we made it apply to everyone, and I got everybody. And then now it's locked down. Now everybody's like, oh, IPO, can I invest in cellulite? Yeah, of course you can. But like, you're not gonna catch that first wave. That first wave's gone, baby. That first wave's gone. Cellulite is off to the moon, bitch. You're welcome. And of course, this is, and we plan to expand, of course. We plan to expand. And again, congratulations to Elon Musk as well. It is remarkable. It's incredible. It's inspiring. May all you be inspired. And again, I don't want you to go out there and be like, oh, it's difficult to be, you do cellulite business, of course. It should have been us. It should be, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It was me. Because people were like, oh, we're not quite sure about this product. I'm all like, yeah. Y'all gonna snooze on this cellulite. And look at us now, bitch. Look at us now. Fucking cellulite yachts on the fucking, Mediterranean floating. The fucking flag is up, son. Cellulite City. So that's what it is. Congratulations. What am I even talking about? It's, of course, but it isn't about me. This is to inspire everybody out there. So go get it, whatever it may be. Tea business, coffee, sandwich shop, you make pants, whatever. Just, have the picture of cellulite and look at this result. Look at the result. Let the results inspire you. Again, gajillionaire, son, gajillionaire. Can't even sleep because I got so much money right now. Everywhere I go, I open the fridge, it's just, bundles, bushels of cash. Just, I got trapped because I opened my closet. Cash just fell out of my face. Tried to start my car. It wouldn't start because the car was made out of fucking paper cash. And then I used that to buy multiple cars. It's crazy. It's crazy up in this bitch. But again, yeah, it's gonna be hard to find people who will be able to like relate at this level of money to you. But whatever. You'll get here one day. Players, let us begin the playing, please. Of course, it was a beautiful weekend. Congratulations. Happy birthday to President Trumpisi for 80th. That's 80. That is 80 years. God. May we all be blessed to live long lives. 80 is a good number. 80 is a solid number. Looking sharp for 82. Looking sharp. The UFC, of course, went down at the White House. This was the UFC Freedom event. The UFC Freedom 250. Put it up. didn't get a chance to watch the full fights because your boy, again, once you are a businessman and entrepreneur, excuse me, if I may, it's easy to get caught up in the, razzle dazzle, if you will, but you got to keep your eye on the ball. So I didn't have time to watch the entire show, but I did catch the highlights. Everybody, shout out to did everybody get a knockout? I think everybody legit got a knockout. A lot of surprises, but also not. For those who, if you know, you know. For those who know, shout out to Justin Gaethje. Not to say I'm a fan of everybody. It's, again, Ilya Topuria. Who'd have thought? But again, if you know, you know. Nonetheless, congratulations to everyone. Cyril Gane taking the W versus Alex Pereira. Alex Peloton Pereira. Who would have seen this coming? But again, if you know, you know, you saw it coming. Pow, pow, right there. And yeah, shout out to everybody. It was beautiful. There were, I didn't have time to watch the entire show, but did I attend? Low-key, yes. If you guys saw a glimpse of it, there was a low-key bald eagle who fucking flew over for a quick stag. Right there. Your boy transformed into an eagle, repping the US for a minute or two. Right there. Landed on an arm. Fucking took off once again. What else did we have? Up in the sky, there was a rainbow. I think that we saw a beautiful rainbow, and that was just, that's when God fucking sprinkles a little bit of, fucking fairy dust on your ass. Like, congratulations, 250, happy birthday. You had jets. You had fucking jets doing maneuvers, fucking figure eights, or, the V formation, one of those. There were they did some stuff. The jets flew, and people had a good vibe to them overall. So congratulations. But there was some nasty motherfuckers, I'll say this, who got thwarted like a couple of bitches, because that's what happens when you're a bitch and you're trying to go out there and wreck our celebrations. Some motherfuckers apparently went out, the different people went out, there was on the signals, I think, and on the TikToks trying to, terrorize the event, but the FBI got in there, fucking early pre-dawn shit. I don't know what time this happened. I'm not sure if it was pre-dawn or not, but nonetheless, Kash Patel, fucking chest, just fucking bare-chested with the fucking FBI tatted on it. He does have a full body tattooed FBI on his full body, right? You do have to, as the head of the FBI, you should probably get it tatted on your chest. I would, but again, I'm a gajillionaire. I take things far. Nonetheless, he stepped in there with a tat or without a tat. Nonetheless, he saw the things unfolding, which was, again, terrorist attacks. So we're gonna go in there with dirty drones. You don't drone the dronesters, son. We do drones. You don't drone the dronesters, son. We are the drone masters. You don't come in there just, to walk in one day in Ohio or wherever the fuck you came from, Cali or whatever. You're like, to go in there and drone this place and then get people to like run into chaos and then we'll shoot them and shit. Thwarted, son. Thwarted like we thwarted your moms out there the other day. So congratulations to the beautiful event. Let terrorists take note. We do not negotiate. We do not fucking settle. We will take you all out. We'll take you. You're already out. We'll take you in. We'll take you right in. We'll take you. Depends wherever you're least comfortable. If we find out you're comfortable inside, we'll take you out. If we're finding out that you're comfortable outside, then we'll fucking take you in and no outside. For your inside, outside, we got you covered, son. We got you covered. You want to come on the South Lawn? We come on the South Lawn, son. Get out of here with that shit. So congratulations, UFC was dope. The pool is looking good. Celebrations 250. Let's see another beautiful 250, another 500. Let's see thousands of men. May we be blessed with thousands of years of celebrations and fights and birthdays. There we go. Now let us get down to business, if I may. Part of this show is, of course, yes, you come in here for the jokes and the laughter and the good times, but it is important that I take this platform and do something positive with it at times, and I do it to my, I choose what I want to focus on and what's important to me. And if it's important to one person, it's important to everybody out there. And I've been listening, and a lot of people are like, is there anything we can do, Rob? Anything we can do to just assist us in terms of, one, becoming a gajillionaire, two, just becoming better men and women out there, performing more, doing more, getting more out of life. And I'll share this one little secret. A lot of times people are like, why don't you just, make it into a book? I like to just spit it out there and just let you just gobble it up. I want to hand out game for free. And this is what you want to do. If you want to jot this down, do it. If you want to just fucking burn it in your memory, do that as well. One of the keys to success, not shared amongst the public. They at least don't want you to know this shit. But I'll fucking break it right here. It's holding in your piss. That's right. Holding in your piss for long periods of time, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know by now, ever since you grew up, ever since you were a baby, they told you, you're like, oh, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna, whenever you feel like you gotta piss, go ahead and piss. That's how they get you from an early age. This may seem counterintuitive, but you want to actually keep your piss inside you as long as possible. I'm not saying on your first day, you're like, Rob, how am I gonna go with, it's been 20 years, I'm 22, I've been, pissing on a regular my whole life. Oh, Rob, I'm in my mid-40s, I'm in my 50s, Rob, you expect me to, stop pissing all of a sudden? I'm not telling you to stop fully, all right? But what I am telling you is just put a longer space and time between the, if you're gonna go and take a piss in the morning, you should not take a piss till the evening, all right? So push your body, but I'm not saying go ahead and push it and don't piss for 3 days on your first try. Incrementally, and if even one day, if half a day is 12 hours, if it's too much for you, increase that time a little bit more, even start with an hour, add an hour, wait a little bit longer. You're like, what does this do for me? What does this not do for you is the better question. It builds confidence. People look at you and they're like, man, Jim over here in the office he's not gone to the bathroom for 7 hours. He must have his shit locked down. Now, Jim, between you and I, may or may not have his shit locked down, but it doesn't matter. People already perceive Jim as somebody who's got his shit locked down. Why? Because he hasn't left that desk for 7 hours. Or if he didn't go to the bathroom. Sure, he might have stepped out for a quick cig. He might have stepped out to grab a quick bite, but he never took a leak. And people say, you know what? Say what you will. Say what you want about Jim, but fucking Jim holds it in for long periods of time. Now, that's a man right there. That's a man, all right? Or Lily, how about Lily over there? She's kept her piss in for 36 hours. My goodness, is there anything she can't do? Probably quite a lot of things that she can't do. But guess what? People have already seen her not piss for 36 hours. They're like, good God, give this Lily a promotion. Guess what? Lily's getting fucking promoted now because she wasn't running in the bathroom every 2-3 hours and, relieving her bladder. All right. And guess what you do when you go ahead and relieve that bladder? This one's rhetorical. Of course, you get thirsty once more. You get thirsty. You're like back and forth. They want you to just rinse, repeat, recycle. Put in the water through one hole and just piss it out through another. They want you in this public bathroom, personal, private bathroom loop. Just drinking and urinating, drinking and pissing and drinking. Guess what? While you're doing that, there are others out there just fucking chipping away. Just chipping away at the dollar mountain. And yeah. You think I took bathroom breaks when I was on my way to become a gajillionaire? Dog, I've not seen a bathroom in 12 years. That's how shit gets done. But you want to go ahead and be like, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to, take your shits. And when I don't even piss when I shit. I know a lot of people are like, it's impossible not to piss when you shit. That's what they want you to think. I never piss when I shit. I'm not pissed and shit for 10. I've only shat for the past 10 years. Pissing, I don't even know what it feels like anymore. Do I miss it? Nah. Does a crackhead who's gone clean miss crack? I mean, it depends on the crackhead, but no, for your boy, nah. So keep your piss in, let that confidence build up, let people think of you as somebody who's reliable. Actually, you might even become reliable, who knows? But in terms of the benefits, they outweigh the negatives by a lot. Physically, you'll feel better. At first, you'll feel irritated, but if you get past that, there's nothing you can't get past. There are people who've been they've gone to crazy parts of the world and then they got captured, and then they were being oh, we're gonna fucking torture you and we're not gonna let you piss. And then the people who used to piss on a regular basis, they just fucking crumbled and they got crushed in torture chambers. But the ones who practiced holding their piss got out of there in a few days, because they're, you know, the fucking terrorists were like, these guys' bladders are crazy. Fucking, we should just let them go. And they did. They were scared. And they handed over their guns and just started practicing, fucking yoga or some shit. They did that, or at least Tai Chi. They put their guns away and started doing Tai Chi as a result of somebody holding in their piss for a really long time. So again, ample amounts of evidence out there. Do your own due diligence. All right, but again, just word to the wise. If you want to get ahead in life, one of the keys to success is holding in your piss. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to come out here, despite us all being players. Doesn't mean that just because we're all players out here playing, doesn't mean that we can't share, son. So you're welcome out there. Didn't stop me from, stepping in. Of course, I'm busy out there, right? So I don't have time to, sometimes expect as much as I want to. Even like right now, the World Cup is happening. I loved soccer as a kid. Don't have time right now. So I'll catch a few highlights, a couple of 2-minute highlights. All I'll watch right now. I can't even believe it. But that's the thing, you get busy. In 82, summer of 82, I got busy. Summer of 82, I was busy. This was the slippery jizz crisis of 82. Before I came along, I know a lot of you are, some of you might be too young to remember this. Some of you might have lived through this. Everybody remembers the 82 slippery jizz crisis. That's right. Jizz would just not, jizz was slippery. This was, and people were like, man, how do we, and that's how it was always done. Jizz was slippery. It was just, up until 82. People would jizz, it wouldn't stick, and there was a little bit of doubt as to how we're gonna get these bitches pregnant, because we're gonna need babies and shit. And what are we to do with this slippery jizz? And that's and they reached out to a bunch of nonprofits, a bunch of think tanks, and they also reached out to me. Who's they? It doesn't matter. Somebody did. Somebody reached out. And I said, you know what, let the nonprofits, let the scientists, let the think tanks do their thing, and I'll do my thing as well. And I went ahead and, again, took a little bit of time, figured out that if you actually make jizz sticky, you're not going to have to, worry about it being slippery and, just fucking slipping away. Because it was like olive oil before I got involved, before 82. Men would jizz, and it would just go, it would go in the canal, for the vaginal canal of the ladies. It would crawl up there and see the egg, and try to get in there, but it was too slippery, so it would slide right off, and women, bitches, we're not getting pregnant. But I said, you know what, let's swift. What's the problem, I asked myself, and people try to overcomplicate things. I said, what's the problem? They said jizz is not sticky, and I'm like, what is it then? They're like, jizz is slippery. I'm like, you know what, if it's slippery and the problem is slipperiness, let's flip it and reverse it, make it sticky jizz. That's what I came up with. And again, some of you might even be here because I made the jizz stick. Some of you might even be here because of that. So you're welcome. Of course, there's a miracle that we got so many babies, prior to 82, because it's a miracle. It's a miracle, but nonetheless, it doesn't mean if you can improve on it. Sometimes you do got to go in there, like, but we're, nature, God made us, whatever, we're perfect. Apparently the jizz was not sticking, so I don't know what to tell you. You're welcome, all right? You're welcome. That's all I got to say. And the moral of that story really is like any problem that might be on the horizon for you, whether personal or global, it's big or small, we can tackle it together by just focusing in on the important stuff. And what I just unpack it, just pull it apart, don't make it too complicated. I looked at jizz, I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, it's falling off the eggs. I said, well, make it stick then, make it stick. And we did. There was a beautiful event in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. This was over the past few days, was it on the weekend or I don't know when it had, just a few days ago, or the past few days. There was a UK event, and it was the Global Naked Bike Ride Day, I think, or I forget the exact name. It's a global event. It's a day, where people get on their bikes in the nude, and I think the World Naked Bike Ride Day, or just World Naked Bike Ride event in London. About 1,000 individuals showed up naked, riding these bikes, and the whole point of this event is to raise awareness, from my understanding, is to raise awareness about the vulnerabilities of bike riders, cyclists. When they're out and about riding, they're vulnerable because they're on bikes, and it's basically them versus the elements. So they're raising awareness by riding these bikes in the nude. And apparently half the people who rode the bikes rented the bikes. So there were I guess bikes around the city, just like many major cities in and around the world have bikes. We got them too here in Toronto, no big deal, what up? We just, you get on the rented bike and you ride it. But these people got on the rented bikes in the nude, and people were like, should you get on a rented bike in the nude? But I don't even think that's the main concern. I don't even think, like, low-key, I don't even care, to be honest with you, whether you care about people getting on rented bikes in the nude or not. I care about the actual cost here, and that's safety and effectiveness. What do we want to achieve, all right? We want to achieve raising awareness for cyclist safety, and you want to get people's attention, because it is an important aspect of our lives. We think that, everybody's got a car, everybody walks, everybody, rollerblades, everybody skis, whatever, no big deal. We give a fuck about cyclists and their safety. Well, it's important that we look out for one another. But I say, if you want to do something, do it properly. Eliminate all the male cyclists who are trying to raise awareness for this event. Put all nude female cyclists on the bikes. The bikes could be rented, it could be personal, but it doesn't matter. But we want the message that's, again, safety, effectiveness for cyclists to get spread in and around the world. Eliminate all the males, not from life, just from the cycling event. Get the naked females to ride the bicycles and roam around the city. I would prefer you do this. I would hope that the event reaches out here where I am in Toronto right now. Again, we need, because that's what happens. That's if you want you want the needle to move, you get naked bitches on it. You want the needle to kind of like stay stagnant, toss in a couple of cocks and make it a sausage fest. But what else? Doesn't matter. I'm just laying it out for you. Naked chicks on the bike, and again, I want to see it here in Toronto as well. And again, if you really want to drive the message of safety and effectiveness home, I'm willing to participate in this and put my body on the line. I want you to, if you're a female cyclist, get on the bicycle in the nude, make it an event. If I'm walking by nearby, again, in my city right now, Toronto, if you happen to see me, just be like, pull up, and then maybe grab your phone and then go live on some sort of, one of the social media platforms, doesn't matter which, but go live, and then whilst you're in the nude, get off the bike and then tell me to get down on your knees, and then I'll be like, what is this? And you'll be like, this is the World Naked Bike Ride Day, and we're raising awareness. Get down on your knees, and I'm like, okay, fine, naked lady, and I will get down on my knees, and then you can grab my head, and then open up your legs, and then stick my head between your vag, between your puss, and just kind of rub my face in your puss and in your ass, and just be like, look at this world, we're raising awareness, and just smother me with your puss. And that drives the message home, because people will be like, wow, look at this, Rob's getting his face smeared with cyclist puss, and I'm all like, and I play, I give in, and I'm all like, I'm all about like, yes, and I'm always I'm like, oh, right in there, and we raise awareness together. And again, right now, I'm in Toronto. If I should, who knows where I'll end up in life, so you never know. But if I'm in another city, same thing. You just pull up, ass out, get on your knees. I'm on my knees, go live, smother my face, and then with your puss. I don't care if you want to shave, if you want to leave it. I don't care. Personally, I love a bush. I don't care. It's not about that. It's not about us. It's about a bigger thing that's happening here. And just rub my nose on your clit, rub my nose and be like, oh, we gotta raise awareness. And I'll be like, I'll be on my knees. I don't care. I'll be on. Sometimes, despite the fact that you're like, Rob, but you got a gajillion dollars to look out for. And what about who's minding your, friggin' businesses? Your Cellulite business, for instance. I'll make time for when I gotta make time. I'll make time. So if you catch me on the streets and you're raising awareness for, a world cyclist safety, again, eliminate the men, rub my face in the puss, just big banner, raising awareness, no big deal already, just, raise awareness for safety and effectiveness. And again, as soon as you come, I'll leave, and then you go in your own direction off to the sunset, and we can, again, every year, we want to do this quarterly, whatever, I don't 4 times a year we can do this. We can do it biannually, you can do it biannually, you can do it whatever you like, you can do it however you like, whenever you like, but if I'm there, just tossing around ideas. Unless you don't want the message of safety and effectiveness, then keep doing whatever you're doing. I guess if you don't want to be safe and effective, you'll be like, no, Rob, we're not gonna smother you with our puss and our assholes. We're not gonna do, because then I guess you don't really care about safety and effectiveness. Then I guess you don't then. But if you do, you know what to do though. If you do, you know what to do. Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, just went to the Geneva summit for the G7 summit in Switzerland. Many world leaders were there. Of course, they're attending, as G7 leaders do, and maybe some other world leaders. Who knows? It's called the G7, so I'm assuming only the 7 went, but maybe more people went. Diplomats, government officials, high-ranking officials, low-ranking, mid-ranking. Doesn't matter. The point is, Giorgia Meloni is of course, Italian Prime Minister, and she took the time to announce to her, other, world leaders. They're like chatting. I think she was captured on video for a minute. She's recently declared that she's quit smoking, and that's everybody starts, congratulating her, like, oh, congratulations, Giorgia Meloni, for quitting smoking. But apparently they did, but then, what did she quit smoking for? Because this doesn't cut it for her. It just doesn't cut it. She apparently wants to do crack now, and everybody was like, crack, yeah, good for you, Giorgia Meloni. Put down the cigarette, pick up a crack pipe. That's what they were saying. Pick up a crack pipe, and she's like, I just want to quit smoking and start doing crack instead. And she wants to, and people clapped, and she's like, I want to get into wrestling, all sorts of dangerous animals. And people are like, yeah, you go, girl. You quit smoking, start wrestling dangerous animals in and around the world. And she's like, I want to get into crafting leather furniture. I want to start crafting leather furniture and quit because I quit smoking. And everyone's like, yeah, you go, girl. Way to go, girl. You go. And she's like, oh, I want to go freaking skydiving now just because I quit smoking. Everybody's like, yeah, you fucking go. Girl, you do that. But all that to say is, like, at some point you gotta ask yourself, is it is it worth it to, sure, you can do upholstery on furniture and stuff, you can skydive, but if you're a prime minister, I don't know how you'd have time to do all of that. I say just, it's just personal opinion though. It's just personal opinion. I say stick with the smoking. And people should clap for that, because that's consistently, that's being consistent with something. Anybody can quit. Anybody can be like, oh, I quit, congratulations. But then you go pick up other hobbies, and everybody's like, is she gonna quit this one? So people have their opinions. I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon and start immediately clapping. Just because, again, I'm not quite sure if crack is better than cigarettes. I don't know, crazy idea here. I'm not sure if crack is better than cigarettes. But if you all think that crack is better than cigarettes, and she said, I'm going to do a lot of crack and I'm going to eat a lot of pasta and pizza too. And everybody's like, oh, you go, girl, you go. So again, I don't know. Just, dominant bitch smoking a cig, taking care of business, or a bitch who stops smoking and picks up all other sorts of hobbies, which might maybe even more dangerous. To each their own. I'm not judging or nothing, but shout out to Italy, shout out to the Prime Minister. But again, they weren't clapping when she was smoking. Also. And then the ones that don't clap when you're smoking and clap when you stop. No, wait, the ones that don't clap when you are smoking and do clap when you don't. Well, that's how they clap. They just clap for non-smoking, and that's you can't even rely on those people. So that's just Pick your friends wisely is all I'm saying. Pick your friends wisely and what they root for. You know. I forget the name of this company. I believe it's either Nora or Nara, N-A-R-A or N-O-R-A. I'll fucking hashtag correct it. Timestamp this. Remember to correct the spelling of these of the company. Nara. It doesn't matter. They had to recall their baby formula because apparently there was a few reports of infant botulisms in different states. So they had to recall this baby formula. And you're like, what do I do? This is in multiple states. How do we get ahead of this? What's the problem here? The problem is this isn't easy. It's actually much more difficult for me than it is for you. If you're a baby, if you got a baby right now, you're like, man, there's a major baby formula producers recalled a bunch of formula because of infant botulism. What do? You get rid of your baby. I know you don't want to. I know a lot of people are like, well, that can't be it. It is though. It is. Think about it. Baby formula has been around for a long time. You know, your baby just came into the world. Baby formula was fine all this time. There were other babies who, lived without getting botched up. But there's some instances right now we're hearing new arrived babies, and right now if you're a baby, you're getting infant botulism, and that's when a baby gets a bacteria and starts getting retarded, and starts crying more so or less so. Something to do with maybe some forms of paralysis. I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest with you, but these babies are looking at all the other babies who've come before them or even coming after them. They're saying, you know what? It's all about us. We're going to spin this until it's all about us. Let's break that. Let's destroy this beautiful company. Let's burn it to the ground. We don't want no baby formula not while we're around. And in the meantime, this poor baby formula manufacturing company started from just a brick and mortar store, and they somehow had to, transform that and turn it into baby formula. All of a sudden, these babies are coming in here and, malfunctioning and blaming it on the formula. Toss your baby out right now. You got to get in and nip it in the bud. You can always get another baby. Companies, as long as they could last for decades, a few decades, half a century plus. If they're lucky, how many companies last over a century? Not too many. Guess what? Because of bad babies who get in there and say, the product hurt me. So toss your baby out right now. And I know it's hard. It is hard. I get it. You put in so much work in it, but guess how they put in way more work and effort into making a company than you did. All right. So the baby's acting out, is trying to spread rumors and get the baby formula to go bankrupt, essentially. Get rid of these naysayer babies, these negative babies, neck babies. That's what I call neck babies. And start from scratch. Try to retrace yourself. Where did you go wrong that your baby's getting botched up? Because apparently adults can eat the product and they're fine, and other babies are fine too. So, retrace yourself. I'm not trying to put the entire blame on you, but low key, if you ended up with a botched baby, time to take a closer look in the mirror, I'd say. Get rid of baby. I said, don't even mention it to anyone. It is humiliating to have a baby go botched by baby formula. It is a little, but my heart goes out. You'll have a better baby next time. You'll have a way better baby. This baby wasn't even if it's getting botched up with baby formula, and that's just baby formula. This is a formula made for babies, by babies. And the formula is there. So we know what we're doing with the formula. That's what a formula is. It's a recipe. It's the way we do it. It's the methodology that we put into it. It's the baby's way. It's the baby formula. It's the baby method. There's nothing wrong with the product. It's your baby. It's a malfunctioned, it's a deformed baby. You got a lemon. That's what we call in the industry, a lemon baby. You got a lemon baby. Toss it out. Hopefully you didn't spend too much time building a crib and taking pictures and, baby shower this and, cake that. start all over again, I'd say just pretend it didn't even happen. It happens to the best of us. Who can't amongst us get a botched baby? Come on, we've seen them out there. Get out of here, kick it to the streets. Save the formula for your next baby though, because I don't think baby formula can even, I think you can have those for like decades and still be good if it's not opened or whatever. But I don't know too much about baby formula, but I do know about babies, and we've seen good ones and we've seen a few bad ones in there as well. In Texas, I believe an officer just saved a baby from drowning in a river. This is heroic. The baby boy was missing for a few hours, if I'm not mistaken. They found him in a river and he was like about to go down and fucking never come up again. But then the officer went in there, saved the baby, and I do apologize, I forget the officer's name. But this story, it just reminded me of the times that I've saved people from drowning. Similar, but different, and similar in some sense, different in many. This was a clear cut. Someone's, it's a person, it's a baby, it's fallen into a river, it's lost. Babies don't know how to swim, or at least they knew one point. They knew at one point, and they knew at one point. Maybe they're just playing dumb. Maybe they're just trying to get your attention. Because babies do know how to swim, but they grow out a couple of years, and all of a sudden, I can't remember. I'm a baby with dementia. I can't remember how to swim. I can't float anymore. It's like, bitch, you were, before you were saying a couple of words, you were, water resistant or buoyant, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm fucking make like a buoy and float, motherfucker. I don't know how to use my body. You just be a baby and you float, but all of a sudden you're like 2, 3, or 5. You're sinking now, I guess. They'll play you. These little babies will play you. Nonetheless, it's clear cut. In this scenario, the officer went out there and saved this needy baby who doesn't know how to swim. And again, it reminded me of the times that I've spent saving individuals from drowning. Now, not every drowning story is the same. And some people would like to actually point to my story and say that, Rob, you saved multiple people from drowning. And for those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, I'll just briefly explain. In many instances, I've walked into rooms, dry land drowning, which is even more severe than, being in a typical body of water drowning. I walked into several rooms in my lifetime where people were sipping on drinks with straws, and they were drinking through the straws rapidly, and they were like, and it was summertime, so rightly so, you're like, these people are thirsty. Let them get the thirst quenched and fucking get that hydration in there. And they were, but I had to remind them. I'm like, I walk into these, I see people slurping fast. I said, hey, you might want to, hey there, feller, you might want to slow it down with the slurping. You might want to slow it, because the last thing you want is that, that liquid to go down the wrong pipe and you're fucking drowning. And then people overheard, and it reminded them to slow down and sip a little bit. Yeah, it's all yours. You paid for it. It's all yours. As you're gonna finish it at one point or another. Take your time there. And immediately, this was like 15 to 20 people, just like light bulbs, just fucking going off. They're like, of course, why should we, sip fast when we can sip slow? And that was just like last Wednesday. That was just like last when I walked into a random office. I'm like, you might want to slow it down when you're sipping drinks. And again, I've done this throughout the years multiple times. So I heard this story about the officer jumping in the river, and it just people got reminded of the times that I've saved people by simply walking into rooms and say, hey, slow it down there if you're drinking. And you sort of, even if you're not using a straw, you're like, oh, what if I'm sipping fast with my favorite mug? I can still drown. And I've had instances where individuals were, whilst jogging, they got their water bottle in their hand and just, preparing for a sprint or a run or a marathon, doesn't matter. And I start jogging right beside him. I'm like, fella, hey, and he's like, I'm running, he says, and he's like, he's pointing his headphones. I got headphones, I can't hear you, I'm running. I'm like, take one off. I take it off for him. I'm like, you just gotta pace yourself while you're drinking. And he's like, what? I said, pace yourself while you're drinking, you might drown. He's like, No one's ever put it like that. And then he continued on his run, and I went my way. But again, similar but different stories. You know, some people say that I put myself in danger way more than the officer here did, because I was dealing with grown adults, which they weigh more. That's one thing. If things got messy, you're dealing with a full-grown adult. With a baby, you can take control much easier. But nonetheless, this is about the heroics of this officer. It's not even about me. It was just to tell a story. I just wanted to share this story. So congratulations to this officer from Texas and to this baby. May you now remember how to swim again. I believe this is in, if I'm not mistaken, Peru. Peru caught my attention because I believe there were police officers, who wanted to capture a drug dealer who's a soccer enthusiast right now. The World Cup is going on right now, and apparently they wanted to capture this soccer enthusiast who's a drug dealer. So they decided to dress up as mascots and capture him because he's a soccer enthusiast, and they thought that it would capture him better if they were dressed in soccer mascots. This was in Peru. One of them, there was like a couple of them. One of them was dressed up as the American Eagle mascot, and then the other one was the Canadian mascot, which is a moose, if I'm not mistaken. But like low-key, I thought about this. I love the police. I love the police, and I love my drug dealers as well. I'll say this, but in this scenario, I think there was a little bit of there's a little bit of gaslighting. There's a little bit of like who's the soccer fan here, because they said he's the soccer fan, but they're the ones dressed up in mascots gear and then World Cup gear, and the video showed them they just get in the suits. They're in the mascot suits. They're in the body suits. They smash through his front door and run up the stairs whilst dressed as the mascots. I don't know if, like, low-key, he might, and again, it's that time, every 4 years it happens, people catch a buzz, they're like, oh, it's soccer season, it's football season, it's the World Cup is on. He might have been excited, but like, low-key, I think the people at the police station might have been excited too. I'm not saying he wasn't excited, I'm not saying he wasn't a big soccer fan or a soccer fanatic or a soccer hooligan or whatever, but I'm saying low-key, I think the cops at that station were also fans of soccer as well. Because I saw that whole, takedown unraveled. Again, they dressed up in the mascot suits, they busted through his door wearing the mascot suits, and then went upstairs and then captured him whilst dressed as mascots. I was just trying to understand what's going on, because the mascots don't help you. The mascot suits don't help you make the arrest. Like this wasn't outside. This wasn't like him on the streets being like a soccer fanatic or like a fan of soccer, and then these mascots catch him on the street, be like, would you like to pull on this moose antler and see what happens, or like I'm the American Eagle mascot, fucking come hop on my back and we'll go for it. It wasn't anything so they just dressed up as the mascots and went into his home and captured him whilst dressed up as mascots. I'm thinking low key, he might be a fan, but I think somebody actually in the police station, wanted to also fucking get into the soccer spirit as well. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. But my whole qualm with this story is just, you don't need to put the whole soccer enthusiast blame on don't make him like he's a soccer pervert. That's why we decided to dress up as men. Just be like, I like soccer. Just be like, I love soccer. It's soccer season. It's the freaking World Cup. Happens every 4 years. You gotta wait for it. I'm excited if you're that guy trying to be like, because I can't, otherwise. And I think a whole bunch of people in that station were probably like, big soccer fans. Because they had to like get it signed off somewhere, because you can't just randomly, if it's like any random day, you can't be like, what about if we were to dress up as soccer mascots and arrest drug dealers or, human traffickers? Typically it wouldn't fly, but I get it. It's that season right now. You're fevered up. You're excited. You're like, you know what? Let's dress up as mascots and go capture some drug dealers. And initially you might even get some, pushback. You're like, do we really need the mascots? There was at least one guy who, maybe the captain was, I'm guessing low key. I I think the captain of that police station was low-key the biggest soccer fanatic, because you got to sign that off as a captain, right? I don't know much about police work. Somebody's got to sign off the work. You can't just be like, let's go in there, dressed up as men. Because like, how are you gonna handle your gun? How are you gonna handle your cuffs, since it's your batons, your gear? It's difficult. So somebody must have been pushing for the soccer mascots from the inside. I don't think this was purely that this drug dealer was the big soccer fanatic that they make him out to be. Now he's a drug dealer. That's probably the bigger offense. But I just want, again, for clarity and for the truth to get out there. If you're a soccer fan, just say it. Just say it. The one guy in the station just trying to promote and like push this idea that, it's soccer season. I don't know how to do a Peruvian accent. It's soccer season. How about we get dressed up as soccer mascots and go fight crime? How about that? And everybody's like, I don't know, Chingo. Is that a Peruvian Chingo? Could be. It is. It feels right. Chingo. I'm Chingo. I say we get dressed up as soccer mascots and go out there and fight crime. Peruvian accent, legit, dude. Peruvian accent, best accent ever. And everybody's like, no, I don't know about that. Like, statistics show about these time of year, it's best to fight crime wearing soccer mascots. I'm Chingo. That's what I think happened. But again, who knows? Doesn't matter. Moral of the story, if you like soccer or anything else for that matter, own it. If you're a drug dealer, just continue to do your thing too, as well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Get your fucking paycheck out. No, get your banknotes out. Get your checkbook out. Get your checkbook out. That's what I want you to do. You want to make bank right now? That's how you make bank right now. Again, hand out game for the players out there. All right? You're like, what do I invest in to get a little bit of startup money so that I could be on my way to becoming a gajillionaire? You gotta listen. Like your boy listens. I listen to see if I can catch some info, some intel that might come my way. That might be a little bit like not necessarily insider trading info, but it's insider info adjacent, we could say. God bless her soul. Tulsi Gabbard came out and said that there's new undisclosed information that she's revealing, and she revealed that there's apparently 120 biolabs in 30 different countries that we're funding through taxpayer money, apparently. And again, it's a global biolab, fucking hoopla. It's a thing. There's 30 countries, 120 of these biolabs. And most of them are doing gain of function research. And there's pathogens in there, apparently, some of them. And some of them are in risky places like the Ukraine right now. God bless everybody out there. And there's a good chance of things just like spewing out there, just spilling out, whether by, maybe there's an attack nearby a lab or fucking everybody's like, oh, we're busy with war or whatever, or maybe not. Maybe it's just like a good neighborhood, they're not even impacted. But like low key, maybe because nothing's being, maybe because their neighborhood's not being impacted, they decide to, play it fast and loose. All of a sudden, the folks at the lab and the biolab are doing gain of function 1 second, lifting up skirts and whipping out cocks the next. Next thing you know, hazardous materials fucking spreads via who knows what method, it doesn't matter. But they were busy banging, all right? Maybe they're busy banging in a boat and they don't realize that there's an iceberg coming. And next thing you know, crash. Next thing you know, biolab leakage. Next thing you know, pathogens break it, outages, it breaks out. And next thing you know, it's Pandy Schmandy 2.0. You're like, how's this good news? How's this gonna help me make bank? Because you got the information early, son. You got the info early. There's 120 of these, right, on 30 countries. Chances of a breakout is looking good. So what I want you to do is invest. And so, because we already had, if you invested in TP, companies that make toilet paper, companies that make masks, pharmaceutical companies, I would suggest you start, again, heavily invest in pharmaceutical companies because they're working on these things. They're working harder than you and I. Even though despite the fact you're like, nobody works harder than you, Rob, because you're a gajillionaire. And yes, in terms of numbers, I am the best when it comes to money. but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that others aren't working hard either. So if you want a leg up, invest in some companies that are, again, look at, hand sanitizer, small things. Be like, oh, hand sanitizer. Invest in hand sanitizer companies. Invest in, wet wipes, stuff like that. Because who knows? The next one might eat your face. The next one might be, or it might not even be as big of a deal as Schmovid was, but we might get lied to again on a global scale and shit might shut. Because there's 120, it's not one or two, it's 120. That's a lot of labs. It's a lot of gain of function. That's a lot of Fauci. That's not one Fauci. That's like 120 Faucis. You thought that one time was bad, which was bad. But again, if you knew prior, you could have made bank. Now you know we're, as taxpayers, we're funding this shit. It's 120 of them. It's a good chance that we might have another pandy schmandy in the next few years. Who knows? But word to the wise. What does that even mean? Why would you say word to the wise? If somebody's wise already, I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. I've heard people say word to the wise. I'd be like, why would you? What word to which? How do you even know something? Like it's confusing is all. What word to which? Who's the wise person, wise man or woman, and what word do you word to the wise? It doesn't matter. The point is invest heavily right now, please. I believe a Nantucket fisherman just got captured on video wrangling a great white shark on the shoreline with his bare hands. I think the white shark was either trapped or beached or something along those lines, or caught up in a mess on the shoreline. And you see this fisherman from Nantucket going out there, wrangling the white shark with his bare hands, helping him, assisting him, and then releasing my thing back into the water, which basically paints a picture and tells a story that's much different than what they'd like you to believe about sharks, and that they are dangerous, that they are predators, that they seek blood, that they're, they got bloodlust. Man, these sharks got bloodlust. People will say that, bloodlust. People will say that, and you just saw a man wrangle the shark with his bare hands. I think this proves once and for all that all of these so-called shark victims every summer getting, munched on by sharks are basically, that's what they are. They're victims. They are perpetual victims who want to be just, oh, the sharks are out there to get me. Oh, look at my leg, it's missing. We just saw a man wrangle a white shark with his hands, okay? So we know that now every human can wrangle a shark with their bare hands. I don't want you to, just believe everything you see on TV. Question things for yourselves. Get out there and swim with the shark. If people are getting, bitten by sharks or being killed by it, I think inherently they're the weakest links. They're probably, I hate to say it, but somebody has to. They're probably pussies, I'll say this. Because there's a man, all right? He's using his bare hands, not some sort of I gotta get into, I don't even think he had his, wetsuit on already. It was just man versus, man, and not even versa. And I think that's the whole mentality. When most see the shark, they're like, it's me versus a shark. It's just you coexisting with the shark. So get out there, play with the sharks, pet the sharks. You can wrangle the shark. If they come near you, fucking wrangle them using your, they don't have hands. How are we getting bitten by creatures that don't even have hands? You know what I mean? Just fucking, oh, but they're so fast. Are they so fast though? Are they so fast? You could easily be faster than a shark. And again, this man just proved that all the victims are exactly what they are, just victims, and people who like to blame other things for their state of existence. So please, don't be one of those people. Get out there and wrangle these sharks. Not saying go out there and look for it, but if it happens to be in your way, fucking don't fret, don't sweat it out. Fucking just get in there, kick them, ride them, wrangle them, lasso them, tame the shark. You should really tame the shark. That's what this man did. Tame the shark. Down, boy, down. easy, I'm gonna get in there and help you now. And he said something along those lines. It was hard to hear. And he set the shark free, and both of them lived happy lives. So there you have it. Congratulations, of course, to the Knickers, the New York Knickers, for winning the championship. The Knicks, the Knickers, and both the players are Knickers, and the fans are Knickers too. So shout out to the Knickers. After 53 years of waiting, New York is a wonderful city. I've been a couple of times. Beautiful, many different sorts of things you can see. All sorts of culture, all sorts of people, the food, the architecture, the parks, the one large park, the other smaller parks, all the boroughs, shout out to Gangs of New York, not related, but low-key, one of my favorite movies. So shout out to the Knickers. But people are asking, they're like, why, what happened, how did they win after fifth? Why did it take them so long, and how did they achieve this, monumental win? And if you have caught it, you've caught it. If you've not had the chance to catch one of their key ingredients to success, all the players are saying this, the coaching staff, everyone, even the fans are saying it. They're attributing their win against the Spurs, was it, I think? Doesn't matter. They're attributing the win, one large aspect of their achievement, to watching Gladyamadeit. Apparently, a lot of the fans, a lot of the NBA players, everybody just got on board and started watching Gladyamadeit some time ago. Of course, people started watching at different times, but nonetheless, all the team players on the Knicks started watching Gladyamadeit, and before you know it, their game improved. Before you know it, their personal lives improved. Before they started, being better with their money and not just like splurging it on cash and hose, which is fine too, but like low key, they invested some too. And again, a lot of people like to say it was a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of grit, tenacity, teamwork. But the most important aspect that helped them achieve this significant W and bring joy to millions of people to New York City, New York, is the Gladyamadeit podcast. I'm just going to say, this is what the people are saying. Thank you. It means a lot. It's an honor. The honor is mine. No, it's ours. When it comes to honor, there's no I in honor, right? So the honor is ours. We did this together. If my videos have helped you get a championship ring and bring joy to millions of city dwellers, then so be it. Some people got excited, the fans got excited, some of them a little bit overexcited. We're on the streets, fucking, tearing shit down. Oh, we won. Gladyamadeit the best fucking podcast out there. Subscribe, motherfuckers. And I'm like, yo, guys, I get it. You're excited. I get it. You don't need to do, damage to the city, essentially. You can watch the show. They're like, well, we got to get the word out. What if other teams hear it and they start watching the show? And what if they win because of watching the show? Whoever watches the most shows wins the most. Apparently I don't make the rules. I don't fucking create the rules. That's just how it works. So congratulations to the Knickers. Of course, the takeaway from all this is that because the basketball players, the NBA players are high level players. It's not like they need to play more or practice. They know already how to play ball, dog. They know how to fucking, what are we talking? We talking about practice over here, son? Please. You know how to throw the 3-pointer. You know how to shoot the guard. You know how to fucking, you know how to break that ankle. You know how to fucking skip and jump. You know how to do all that shit. But again, some people are saying the differentiating factor between winning and not winning, watching the show and not watching. The Spurs, on the other hand, I can't speak for all the Spurs players. Some people were adamant that they should be watching more Gladyamadeit. Some were saying, no, you need to get out there in the court and dribble. And they dribbled, and that's all they did. Low key, Again, I'm not saying, people are saying it's crazy how things work out. Congratulations to all the Knickers out there holding it down. Wagwan. I believe South Carolina just had an instance with a angry alligator who evaded capture for 3 hours, causing all sorts of havoc in and around the neighborhood in South Carolina. this breaks my heart because alligator capture should be quick, should be done swiftly. I saw the video, I saw how it unraveled, and I would just like to step in here, and if I could be of assistance, I'd like to take this time to say that whether, again, we saw a man wrangling a shark with his bare hands in Nantucket. I specialized in wrangling alligators using the genital exposure method. What I do is if I see an alligator, and this is what I did for many years, I expose my genitals to the alligator. I get on the ground, eye level with the alligator. I open my legs, cock out. Alligator sees the cock, wants to go in and clamp down. I roll, grab the alligator, rip its mouth open, or crawl inside and come out of its asshole. Alligator captured. Alligator shoes for everyone. Put a bow on it, please. But again, not many people are familiar with this technique, so it's very simple. You just get on the floor, you get on the floor. Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. They are attracted to genitals. So you take your pants off, you open your legs, expose the genitals, all right? Alligator goes to clamp in, you roll. Roll, grab the head, rip or close. Rip it open all the way, or rip it open for it to be wide enough so you can crawl inside, punch it from the inside out, gut it from the inside out. Take a knife with you, just slice and dice it from the inside out, or clamp it down and be like, how does it feel not to be able to open your mouth? And just, fucking, I think, of course, we do need more research, and we need to find out why this particular alligator was so angry. I think a lot of it goes back to, of course, family. Some of these alligators are coming from single parent households, and that, I think, speaks for itself. I mean, the stats are there. So the angry alligator was eventually captured, but again, I like to say, try the genital exposure technique. You're like, what if it bites my genitals? You think my genitals haven't been bitten by a few alligators? I like to prepare, of course, by punching my nuts for about 25 to 35 minutes each and every day, so that if a day should come when I'm faced with an alligator and I have to capture this alligator, I can expose my genitals and not make the mistakes of my youthful days where I didn't go in there prepared. I now spend many of hours slamming my nuts between car door, plural called car doors, which is slamming the door on my nuts so that it goes numb. Eventually it turns black and blue and purple and green. There have been instances of pus oozing, just like a secretion of yellow and green liquid, which infers that the process is working. When I can't feel anything below my hips and above it too, when I can only feel what's above my neck, which is my face, I know I'm on the right path. And I say to you out there, don't just be, waiting for opportunity to come by and be like, okay, it's here now, what do I do? Again, if you have a car, grab a car door and slam your nuts between the car door. If you're a woman, you're like, bro, it's easy for you to slam your nuts between a car door. Car doors, plural. Rob, you've done this with many a cars. How do I, as a female chick, how do I do it it's not going to be as easy to slam your labias between a car, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. It does take a little, yes, of course. Nuts hang low, lower than labias, but it doesn't mean that you can't stretch your labia and kind of like slam the door shut right on top of it. It doesn't mean that you can't take a hammer to your labia at home. You don't need a car. You don't need to have, you're like, I'm a public transport kind of gal. I don't have a car. Doesn't mean you can't go to the hardware store and grab yourself a hammer and slam it against your labia or clit a few times a day, all right? Next thing you know, summertime comes around, you're visiting family in Florida or wherever, alligator, genital exposure, wrangled, and it's taken care of. So you're welcome out there, of course. Or you're like, I don't know, I don't want to go out of my way to fucking, exercise my genitals so that they're, I don't want to do too much. You can have objects dropped from, the top of buildings on top of your genitals. Like, get a friend. If you're like, make it a fun. That doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to feel like exercise. Get a friend to go on top of a building and just drop a brick on your genitals. Do this like 3-4 times, and go grab a coffee after. It's no big deal. It doesn't have to be like this big, major, life-changing thing. Just again, a few little tweaks in your life will allow you to, of course, go out there and wrangle the alligator and avoid, I don't know, wasting time for 3 hours. Unless you got time to burn, unless you don't want to become a gajillionaire and you're like, I got all the time to burn. Then do that then. Be a communist who doesn't like money then. Spend all the time, chasing gator tail. And we don't chase around here, dog. Play to play. We don't do the chasing around here, son. There's a new, relatively, I guess it was old, but then it's new again. And what is old becomes new, and what is new becomes old. Before of course, the advent of hospitals, they used to, if you were giving birth, it was you, the elements, and if you're lucky, some help, maybe a village elderly female, a witch of sorts, who we loved at the time, came and assisted you with the birthing process. Long story short, we all know, of course, hospitals came and they took care of that for you. So if you're now pregnant, you go to hospitals, you give birth in the hospital. Apparently, there's a re-emergence of the free birth movement is a thing that's taken off, I think. I'm not sure how it's taken off, but it's free birth. That's what it's called. So whereas female bitches go out there in the elements, either home or out there somewhere, and give birth without the assistance of a hospital. And they can hire people or get people to assist them. They're called birth keepers. They get the birth keepers who come and assist them with the birthing process. I think this was the UK, I'm not sure, I forget. Emily Lull is the name of the birth keeper. Emily Lal or Lull, I don't know how to say her last name, I apologize. Stacey Wernick hired Emily Lull, who's a birth keeper and also free birther in terms of she practices birth keeping. She's a birth keeper. And this all falls under the umbrella of free birthing, I think. So Stacey hired Emily, and Emily went over to her home to assist her with the birthing process. Stacey gave birth, then bled out and died. And people are like, what's up with free birthing? Should I have free birth? Should I get a birth keeper instead of going to a hospital? And all I gotta say to this is, it's to each their own. To each their own. It's essentially comes down to two things. If you want to be taking, if you care more about so-called safety, whatever that means, go the trad way of going to the hospital, giving birth in a hospital setting, because things could go awry. But if you want a more, personalized experience, if you want to be hip, if you want to be cool, and it's difficult for many mothers to be, cool, calm and collected and just, down with that shit during childbirth, because childbirth itself is not that, it's not that great of an experience, but you can make it better. And that's where I would suggest you go with the alternative, which is the birth keeper process and free birthing. Whereas, because hospital setting, you go in there, there's a nurse, they've done this millions of times, there's a doctor millions of times. Of course, things do go wrong in the hospital setting as well, all the time. Not to say that they're perfect, but yes, with the birth keeper, you might have an instance of bleeding out or bleeding in, or not bleeding at all, or bleeding way too much, or bleeding out of the wrong hole. You gave birth and the blood is coming out of your face and the placenta just came out of your nose. It could happen. It could happen, you never know. But low-key, it does look better. It does look cooler. I do like the scene of a woman just going into the woods with another woman. This isn't some les, there's no undertone of les. It could easily happen, of course. Two women in the forest, there's always les undertones. But nonetheless, that's way cooler when you have one woman in the corner, kind of like crouching down, boiling water, making fire out of nothing. She doesn't take anything with her. She makes fire, boils a little bit of water. The woman is giving birth. She takes the boiling water, throws it on the woman, and then helps her with, I don't know why they boil the water. I don't know why they throw boiling water on the women who give birth. But she does that. And she's doing this whilst smoking a cigarette. And it's just nice. And you can have your baby and take a couple of selfies and be like, this is my birth keeper, fucking, Leslie and Monica. And we just gave birth in the forest, fucking look at you, bunch of pussies giving birth in the fucking hospital. And you're right about that. There's a bunch of pussies in the hospital who like to do things with procedures, and you know, there's methods, and you know, sources and methods, and you know, there's like do it by the book, and that's gonna be you're gonna raise a regular baby in society, whereas the baby in the forest with the potential, you know, les undertones, probably gonna grow up to be a, you know, low key, you know, more like it's gonna be a baby with probably like a green thumb. It's gonna be like a baby who's a little bit, oh, I'm gonna go outside and explore. I'm gonna play, because I was from the get-go, I was into the woods and I was into playing. Not like my counterpart babies who are just like, oh, I can't swim anymore all of a sudden. I forget. This is how babies forget to swim. This is how babies forget to swim. Perhaps that's the moral of the story. Safe and effective, hospital, trad, pathway. Cooler, you do it in the forest or at a back alley, and you give your kid a cigarette or two and fucking get him a tattoo right then and there. And that baby's gonna be fucking dope. Till next time, get out of here. Peace out.